afternoon, YouTube. This is Chuck with Luck&Chuck again, and today we got an in-depth profile with Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe Short. I placed second after Swiss at the North American Yu-Gi-Oh! Championships this year in 2022. Just get straight into the profile, do shoutouts at the end. I lost in top 64, by the way. I was the bye. Okay, so I played a 60 card pile. I'll just go pretty in depth into like what I played. So I played Zombie Punk Adventure. The Adventure engine was 10 cards. 2 cards you really don't want to draw. This one doesn't really matter if you draw it that much, because it still gets you to a level 4 monster, which is kind of important for this deck for its level modulations. This card obviously just sucks. This card is pretty cool to draw sometimes because he's level 7, basically as Black Dragon, but like you can summon him. He makes Baron lines easier. Most of the time this dude's just a stepping stone in your combo and not like a Omni Negate to force your fiber through. This is normally just something that's there on the board to be a level 7 monster. So you don't necessarily go through this every turn 1. A lot of times you'll go like right for Fateful, and then Fateful will grab this and special this because it's the level 3 monster, which works better with your extra deck. It's just how well your hand can play through a nib, not really around a nib. And when your hand's bad, you have to attempt to play around nib because that's the most impactful card in the game. And then this is just a god card in the deck. Every time you see this card, it just opens up every line for your deck. You can get to your Punk engine, your Brave engine, your zombie cards, whatever you need for the situation.
So Fool's Burial, best card?
Fool's Burial is probably the best card in the deck outside of like, you know, the other cards. My deck's crazy. Played a 9 card Punk engine. I wanted this to be 10, but with the way the hand trap lineup is set up, I could not force another Punk card, and the next one that I would have played would have been the Dark level 8 Ogre Dance. But Droll started creeping up in popularity because people started talking about the Flunder deck. And I didn't want to be put in a situation where I have to side out so many cards post side because people are going to start putting in Droll versus my deck because they see I'm playing like Adventure or this. So it's much easier to just side out like your bad hand traps, your extra pieces of the zombie engine, like cards that the prosperity cards that just don't really have effects post side, than your actual core engines, because you want to see these cards every game. Even this one's not that bad to see, as long as you see one of these. Or like a really cool line that I was doing was like if I would have Sangan and like a way to summon a tuner, I would go like Sangan, summon tuner, and then make Fiber or something, like whatever. And obviously this card's in your hand for the combo, but your Sangan can search this guy, and then you can Gear Note reveal the Z-Almond, send it, summon Gear Note, and then like your Fiber summon like Red Rose or something, you know, and then you make Chaos Ruler with this, and then this can still summon this card back, it just can't use its effects. That was a pretty cool line I was doing. Another cool thing, if you don't get to these cards, but you get to the zombie cards, your Fiber can tutor for this while you have Zombie World on the board, and then Mizuki can bring this back to get to this engine for like follow-up turns or for kill shots. And the reason there's 3 of this card and 2 of this card is because you would normally play like this, right? But the deck, I think at 40 cards, this is very standard, this is acceptable, this is what you should be playing, but this deck is at 40 cards and you need to see this engine as much as possible because it's the most high impact cards that put extra bodies on board. And they get you to Chaos Roller, which is hands down the best card in this deck. It's the only reason this deck functions. If I could play more of these cards, I would, without like sacrificing the consistency, obviously. Played Red Rose. Your standard line goes through Red Rose because this is the most cost-efficient card to grab off of Fiber. Like, whenever you're doing your combo, this card gets you to everything and keeps your zombie cards back so that they can actually function as the engine that they're supposed to in the deck. They're supposed to be a backbone engine for when your board gets broken to allow you to make another push, which is the problem with the normal Punk Adventure deck. It doesn't have a backbone to fall back on. Like, a Ghost Ogre on the crackback on their Fateful Adventure generally does just end the game for them because their Fateful Adventure is gone forever now, and most of them only play one because they're playing a low card count. Whereas this deck, it's not really relying on Fateful Adventure as its follow-up. It has zombie cards, and you get to these cards naturally in your combo. It's just how much you use them in your combo is how, like, they proceed in your plays. These cards obviously just suck. This card's not terrible to draw. Terrible. This is the best tuner in the game, bar none. I played a normal summon engine. I felt that this deck actually just needed a third normal summon engine that does the same thing that this whole pile does. This just generates your Fiber. This could be Carbon ADDON. I tested it for a little while. Cody Angeloff told me to test it, and I really wasn't a big fan of it, mostly because Carbon ADDON was an Earth monster and not a Dark, so I was never be able to grab it off of Chaos Ruler. Whereas I could grab Sangan off Chaos Ruler, and Sangan like nets you any hand trap when you do that, or like you can grab this off of Zombie Vampire after you see what they're playing, and then grab the hand trap that like suits what they're playing. Like, you play so many hand traps in this deck. This is one of the garbage cards again. It's so bad, but you have to play it because it's the only tuner that's level 3 that you can summon off of Sangan, to my knowledge. If I'm wrong, please just link it to me. I'll gladly rip this card in half.
And so it just basically was there most of the time. Did you ever really summon it that often, or is it just
like this?
Yeah, it's the Arborea.
Oh yeah. Most of like the times that you're Sangan was like my only play, and like I would summon Fiber off of it. Like, Sangan goes into All Mirage, this gets there, goes into Fiber, and I just let them negate the Fiber. Like, I don't really care what happens to the Fiber at that point, because my hands are just like all hand traps or like all non-engine cards, and the Fiber was really just gonna net me like a Ghost Ogre or something, or like a Unizombie that I just want to stick on the board. And then on their turn, Fiber's either gonna tag out for like Shooting Riser or Immortal Dragon for follow-ups, depending on what you summon off Fiber, or if Fiber didn't resolve, whatever.
So pretty much every card in the deck had more than one role to play, but Arborea just was there as like the first extender to bait out in action.
Kinda. It was just like, it's easy access. Like, some lines, it was... Okay, so it was kind of cool where you'd have this, right? And you'd open this card, but you wouldn't open anything else, right? So you go like this, grab... Summon All Mirage, grab this, and then you activate this card. Or open board state, you're gonna activate this first because you don't want them to ash this. No one should be ashing a Foxy Tune in open board state. You use the Foxy Tune and you grab the Deer Note, and then Sangan gets this, and this makes Chaos Ruler, which also gets a Zombie Vampire like this. And it also has a All Mirage on the board for some reason because you can't have it. And if you mill 9 in this deck, if you successfully mill 9, it is theoretically impossible to lose. Like, there are no 9 bad cards that you're gonna mill over the course of that. Like, it's just so high impact, and you get to see what they're playing. Like, it just, even against Flunder, where your deck's like, obviously this is a scythe deck, so like, even when you see they're playing Flunder and you can't really scythe them, you still set up like the scythe board, because Scythe's just a level 5 monster that comes back, and like, being able to see what they're playing, you can just build your board around it. Like, you can go so far into searching your zombie world or whatever you need, just fit the situation. This is like a really big toolbox deck. It's a really fun deck. These are utility cards. These cards can be almost anything in the game. I would not cut this but I understand if you don't play this card. This extra deck is really tight, and banishing 6 cards is a issue sometimes. Do you mind if I curse? Alright, cool. So, don't be a bitch. You're banishing 6 every time off this fucking card. Like, you're going for 6. If you go for 3, you're not playing this deck correctly. You need to go for 6, because 3 cards in your 60 card deck is not going to change anything. 6 is 1/10 of your deck. You're going to see something playable. Like, I had to Prosperity and grab an Ash Blossom because it was a zombie monster, so I can reborn it off of Mizuki. Like, if this did not hit the Ash Blossom as my 6th card, I was probably passing. Like, this card is very good. This card, I didn't see it often, 60 cards, but the games I did, it was cool. It doesn't negate the hand trap that matters. If I could fit Cross out, I probably would, because Nib was in everyone's deck. But Called by, like, it had its uses. Most of the time this was hitting engine cards, and when it was hitting engine cards, it's so hard to lose games where this trades with the actual piece of their deck. Like, if this trades with a Tragedy, if this trades with you mill a Rabina that off your Chaos Ruler and you set this, and then they go like Rabina effect and you call by the Rabina engrave. Like, there's just so many niche scenarios where this card just does stuff to their engines. You could cut this. Like, I think this deck has enough gas to push through most hand traps. Like, there were games that I played through like 4 hand traps, like Ash, Nib, Gamma, like, and ended on something, you know? Like, clear the Nib, end on a card, and you're playing versus 2 cards with your card. Like, you're probably fine. Your cards are always just going to be better than your opponent's. This card's brick. You can cut it. Every time you do not want to start with this card. This is your actual Call by the Grave. When you're pushing through boards, you save Fiber for last. So when they negate everything and you summon Fiber, Fiber gets this, so you can make Help Dagda. You could cut this to save a spot in the extra deck, but if you cut this, you're losing a lot of utility with your Fiber. Being a level 1 tuner does come up, it comes back, because you can make Immortal Dragon very easily. Your goal is a lot of the time to get to Immortal Dragon. That card's broken. Yeah, you could cut this. I wasn't a big fan of it over the weekend, but like, I'm glad I played it. I'm actually glad I played every card in this deck. There's nothing that I would personally change if I ran it back, but I think this is good. This is a God card in the deck. You can Rise or Send it, and then do Immortal Dragon to send your Zombie World package, so you have both engines flowing. Hitting this off a Chaos Roll always feels great. Zombie Vampire 2. This giving you a push for lethal. This is almost 2,000 damage, so you just have to put up 6k, and this deck puts up 6k like in its sleep. This card was good. It should probably be banned again. Deshudo, another card. You know, this card's degenerate. This card making Psychic and Punisher is just crazy. Ban it, please ban this card. Zombie cards, and then 3 Mizuki. So you play 2 tuners because you have to play 2. You can play 3, you can play 4, whatever you want to play. But your minimum is 2. You cannot play 1 because if you're playing 1 tuner for this engine is going to fail you every time. This deck needs to open a tuner monster. Opening this card is very good. Alright, so, can y'all text Travis which run this is?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Okay, so I play 8 cards for the zombie engine plus Ash. Plays better than Unizombie. You play them because you play Unizombie because he's level 3. He also has an effect sometimes. Just remember, post side, you side this out a lot. And if you use his effect going second, you cannot perform your attack, which matters. This deck likes to attack, so you don't use this effect post side. You can even side this out if you really want to, but I don't. it's a tuner. Plex Spreader being able to summon itself back kind of comes up sometimes, not very often. These cards are really good against Wonder. Also really good against Tribegate, but I still lost that matchup. Shout out to that dude, I guess. So I'm not gonna care. Shang-Chi. This is probably the best zombie card. Period. Like, this card is broken. When it's in the grave, when it's banished, you banish another zombie monster from your graveyard to summon it back from the banished, and then while it's on the board, so like this guy can send. So if you summon this off of Fiber, right, and you have Mizuki engrave, this synchros into Baron, and then you Mizuki for this guy. This sends this to grave, and then makes itself level 4, so you synchro with the token into Chaos Roller, 05. And then if you can link off your Chaos Roller, that's probably best. If not, you can Baron pop it, and then Chaos Roller banish this to banish another zombie monster, and then send Mizuki. And then you Mizuki again for this, pitch a card, and this makes it level 10. And you have a Chaos Roller on board to link with. So that'll give you Hulk plus Dagda and 2 level 10 monsters. And then Shooting Arthur can send this during your combo as well. And for this is 40 cards. You can play this, but you have to play hand traps because, you know, protection. Always use protection. 2 Ogre and a Driver. This is 39 actually, because I have 21 cards here. 3 Gamma, 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Imperm. So, the goal for this was to open 2 hand traps as often as possible, while still playing enough consistency cards to not brick very often. I think I bricked like twice throughout the whole tournament, and bricking in this deck is just you open no tuners. The reason there's no Droplet anywhere in the deck at all is because Droplet doesn't pair with any of these cards to have an effect. If you open Droplet plus one of these is never enough. And then the Droplet is just going to get Herald negated. Whereas if there was 2 hand traps, if you open these 2, or these 2, these, you pick them, doesn't matter. You open 2 of them, you are preventing almost every board. And if this deck can get through, if this deck can stop them from making their full board, it will probably beat them. Like, you'll have a chance. Whereas if they full board you, no one is breaking anyone's full board in the game except like Despia, because that deck's just bad. But this deck, all the hand traps, they're all utility hand traps. This could have been Mourner. This could have been Ghost Mourner. But I rather Ghost Ogre, because Ghost Ogre has better applications against Rogue than Mourner. But Mourner being a zombie monster actually would come up sometimes. You can also add this off Chaos Ruler, which is very impactful. Like, you can't add this off a ruler because it's fire, but it's a zombie monster, so like, and this is like probably the best hand trap in the game outside of this one. So you have to play it, but all these can be added off of Chaos Ruler, and the majority of them can be added off of Sangan as well. We're going to the extra deck. Got a token. Plays Anima and Almirage. This gets banished off Prosperity a lot. This card can be cut if you cut Jet. This didn't steal anything all weekend, but this card was really good. Summoned it a lot. It's a Spellcaster, which is why you play it. Because it lets you get to a Spellcaster while still getting to Jet off of your Fiber. That was cool. 2 cards that can be banned. This card should probably get banned if they keep Scythe. I like this card a lot. Please don't ban it. This is one of the most fun Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Just ban all the cards around it. I'd never say that about other cards. This card is really fun. I play this really cool engine of attack. I did a really cool play with this guy where my opponent had a Magician Souls in the grave that I milled off off my zombie vampire, and I activated Zombie World so I can Mizuki back something real, and then I used this, stole his souls. I put up like a Baron first to play around like a hand trap. Stole his souls, sacked off the Zombie World to draw a card, and then made Celine made this, and I killed him.
So we'll see.
So this is really cool. You have to play Dark because he is the one that, this is the attribute that's the hardest to get to. This deck gets to lights very easily, but dark monsters are very hard to get to. Like in your graveyard, it's easy to get to dark monsters that like are on the board, but most of your dark monsters just get banished after use.
So midway in access code, you basically get what you need to bring back Chaos Ruler.
Yeah. Punisher, this card was very broken. Every time I summoned it, the game was over. Didn't get to summon it much, but glad he was here. Baron, I kind of wish I played 2 of this card. Nothing much to say about this card. Is very, very above average.
How often do you use its Reborn effect?
Almost every game. This summons back Scythe in your combo. The Ching Ying, this is the second level 10 of choice. It has just a lot of applications in the deck. He's really hard to out. He makes easy game shots. Your deck banishes a lot of cards very frequently, so you can always trigger him very fast, very often. You can also, like, there's cool lines where you can go like Baron pop this to save itself, and then to save itself you banish this, and then this banishes another zombie, summons itself, and this is 8k. Well, 81, but that's like without committing much more resources, and you still have Mizuki for follow-up.
For those who don't see it that often, because it doesn't really pop up in Sword Soul deck, what does the card exactly do?
What do you mean?
Well, what's its actual effect?
Game. Chaos Ruler, this is by far the best card in the extra deck. I think this deck is the most disgusting deck summoning this card. This is a really fun Yu-Gi-Oh card. This is like activating grass, but you get to almost pick your mills. Like, this card's just so stupid. This card, this is probably a typo on the ban list. I don't know why this is at 1. You know, play it while it's here. This and Snow should never be in the same format though. Mortal Dragon, this is probably the reason you play zombie cards. It's a generic level 6 tuner that once per turn you Felucia zombie monster that's not level 6, and its level becomes the difference between it and what you sent. So if you sent like Mizuki, for example, level 4, this card becomes level 2. So that's why you play all the different levels of zombies. If there was a good level 1 zombie tuner, you would play it. But this guy like tutors you for anything, and then he also comes back sometimes when a zombie is destroyed by battle, so you can like summon Place Spreader, crash into something, summon this guy back from the grave, send Mizuki, and then you also have Place Spreader back. So if you haven't made Hulk yet, you can make Hulk. This is also a dark, so it makes dark, which can get you to whatever else you need. This card's very good. Big fan of it. Also, shout out to Vlad, got me this thank you Euro print. Been looking for this for like 2 months. This common Wonder Magician, I like the common Don't Judge. Mandatory MST, so you do have to kind of like be wary of it. Don't pop your own Faithful because you're being stupid. I use this card to pop Fluwandereeze the map so much more than this pop to Scythe. I think I summoned Scythe like 4 times in the tournament. I was playing through Rain Traps a lot. Also, this card drew like 5 cards in the tournament by Destruction. It's actually Card Trooper. And then Zombie Vampire. This guy is very cool. Look at him being a vampire. I don't know what's behind him. It might be like a city or something. He's a cool ass dude. I didn't use his hidden ability. I won't tell y'all about that because it's hidden, but I didn't use that yet in this deck. Side. These, and these. More hand traps. These cover all the matchups that your normal hand traps don't. I didn't think this card was good enough to main deck, but it was a very good card. Post side. This card was also very good post side. This card triggered a couple chain games. I drew this once. Never sent it. Never needed it. Good hand traps. I would play these again. I had 2 buys this tournament, so I decided to toss one matchup since the format was so diverse. The matchup I chose was the trap card deck. So I understand I'm playing 60 cards. I should not see these cards very often. I do not, but these are in here just in case I play them. I hope not to play against trap cards. They should not be 2-0 after 2 rounds. Those decks are bad. This added a couple Mystic Minds. This is a God card. You side this going second against every deck in the game. Going first, I side this against like Mystic Mind decks. And decks that like you can twin them on your turn, like hold the twin so they don't pop it, twin them on your turn and kill them. Like you can also deceive them with mine, like they mine you pass, trying to be deceive, and then you activate this, pop their mine and then they die. 5 go first cards. Kind of wish this was a different card in the tournament. Don't know what, but when I drew it, it was very good. This card was obviously very good. You just watched it probably win the finals. Or come very close to winning the finals. Good Yu-Gi-Oh card. I played 5 because with Prosperity, you have 8 post side. When you go first, you kick in the Prosperities, and you try and resolve that as far into your combo as possible. Like you mill so many cards, you go down to like 30 cards in deck after your combo. Prosperity, grab this or this, whichever one's in there. Yeah, that's the deck. I have a bunch of shout outs. First and foremost, series shout out to everyone that came with me. Shout out to Josh, Chuck, Travis, Higgins, Joe, Liddy, Khalil, Blake, Seville, kinda. Shout out to all my friends that were at the event. I haven't seen in years, you know, it's COVID and stuff, but I have long hair now, so most people don't really recognize me. But it was nice seeing everyone. Shout out to my team, Pandemonium Gaming, best sponsor on the planet. So also the most serious shout out of all time. Shout out to everyone that attempted to help me with this deck. I've been trying to make this deck for like 2 months. I actually do appreciate most of the input on it, but for the people that didn't follow through and commit, stick to the game plan, join the horde, you know who you are. I'm gonna shout you out. Dominic Couch, Avery Foster, and especially Avery Foster, because he would call me at 6 in the morning every morning and try and talk to me about his bird deck. Like sometimes he'd just call and say like Eagle in effect and then hang up, right? So it was really fun, just waking up to birds or going to sleep to birds, you know, dreaming about birds. Birds aren't real, Avery. That's why your deck sucks. And then the biggest shout out of all, Cody Angeloff. He actually, funny enough, me and Cody theoried on this deck for so long. We theoried for maybe like 3 weeks. Just testing this deck, testing all kinds of variants. And like, you know, he just stopped, right? And he just stopped testing it, and I kept going, stuck to the game plan, you know, trip. And Cody showed up to the event this weekend and was like, hey, you should test out Carpet on. That card's really good in the deck. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he told me he sleeved up Sword Soul. And didn't top with 2 buys that he got for free. You suck. That's it.
All right. Thanks for sitting with us today. Good luck coming up with the other events, and have a nice night. Luck and Chuck out.